What's up everybody, this is Todd. Today I'm doing a StarCraft tutorial that hadn't happened for a very long time, but hopefully this will be the first one of many. And we're going to be taking a look at the Terran versus Protoss. Protoss is already doing pretty well these days in the matchup, so I wanted to do a tutorial on a build that I think maybe could help some Terrans out there. I picked a very easy build, not being a Terran myself. I think it would be very hard to go in depth with a difficult build to explain, so it's basically an all-in. An early game all-in, which is gonna rely a lot on not having your opponent scouting so that it doesn't see it, and just kind of winning right off the bat with a quick rush and proxy. If you play a lot of opponents that scout a lot in the start, then I don't recommend necessarily doing it, because I think they are gonna be able to counter it very effectively if they scout it quickly. But I think the best moment to use this build is if you play the same Protoss a couple times and you notice that it doesn't scout, because then I really feel like you're going to be able to punish him if he goes for a quick Nexus. So let's take a look at the game together. This is Bunny going up against Root Hero in a recent online match that Base Trade casted in the People Image League. I'm going to be taking a lot of notes, so I'm going to be pausing sometimes. Obviously this is a format that I'm not that experienced with. Like obviously, I want to make tutorials and I want to make as viewer friendly as possible, but also the main goal is really to teach stuff that you guys can remember. So when you're on 13 out of 15 supply just right from the very start, you're gonna rally that first SCV directly across the map. Keep in mind, like we're on a 2-player map, but guess what? Every single map in the map pool currently is a 2-player map, all 7 of them. So it doesn't matter what map you're on, you're always gonna know where the opponent is. So on 13 out of 15, and we're going to take that note right there. 13 out of 15, rally SCV across map. And you guys are going to see it's going to evolve very quickly here. You're going to send a second one immediately. So send second one to ramp shortly after to Mech Depot, I guess. Boom. You guys can take your own notes, by the way. You don't need to write down or print whatever it is that I'm writing. Like everybody has their own way to make notes. So this one is still going across the map. It's going to be for the barracks. And now, as soon as you reach 15 out of 15, when you have enough minerals, you're going to start a gas. 15 out of 15. Take gas. And one thing that I didn't write down, but that is obvious, is that you need to make SCVs continuously for a very long time. So I'm not gonna make that note. Like obviously, I feel like it's obvious enough. What we will write down is eventually when you do cut SCVs. So 16 out of 23. Start barracks. And shortly after is when you will saturate your gas. Saturate gas. Because it finishes right after. SCV ready. And then you keep on making SCVs. Again, I'm not gonna write that down. Like it's in a StarCraft game, it's very common to have to do this. 17 supply is when you take the second gas. 17 out of 23. Take second gas. You make one more SCV. Again, we don't cut these for a very long time, despite it being an all-in. So basically with this build you're going to be mining a lot of gas, because you take both of them quickly, and as soon as they both finish you saturate them very fast. So I don't think we need to note anything here. Obviously you're still making SCVs. Now it's going to be the important part that you can't afford to mess up. You don't start a 20th SCV, because you're going to have to start orbital. So on 19 out of 23, I think it's Mech Factory. Well, we're going to let it play first, I guess, a little bit before I save that message. Start orbital, Mech Factory, and then get reactor. Okay. Start orbital, Mech Factory, plus reactor on racks. Hopefully this is clear enough. Like I said, you guys can take notes very differently than I do. And then again on 19, it's going to be that second depot going up at the ramp. So again, 19 out of 23, second depot at ramp. Maybe, I don't know if I should write down the line above with everything else, because it still seems to apply. I'm going to leave it like this, and you guys can take the note as you want. Then obviously, as soon as the orbital finishes, you're going to be using a mule on the minerals, and you're going to be swapping these two buildings. So, and starting an SCV, obviously, as well when this finishes. So when orbital finishes, use mule and start an SCV. Remember, the build time for factory and reactor is very close together, so they will finish at about the same time when started kind of simultaneously. And now you're going to be swapping this. So remember, you're still making SCVs unless the build order says otherwise, and later you're going to be cutting very soon actually. When factory finishes, swap it with barracks and starts two well, one marine, I guess, whichever can be faster, and two cyclones. That is gonna take a lot of room, that line. Okay, well, it kind of almost goes in the middle of the screen. The SCV you keep here. I'm not gonna write that down like it's, I think, clear enough. I kind of missed the timing on that depot, I think. I'm gonna go back a little bit then. So it's immediately after you start the marine and then the two cyclones. So it's maybe one more SCV as well. So 27 out of 31, third depot at ramp. And then you queue a second marine, obviously. You're gonna keep on making marines and cyclones continuously. You're not gonna send SCVs across the map. You need the economy to keep on making these guys here. It might seem like you're mining too much gas with 6. You see, you have like a bunch of gas banked up, but trust me, this is the kind of build with which you better have too much gas than too little, because otherwise what are you making? You're making Hellions, which Hellions rushing, like, you know, Protoss is gonna laugh at you. So let's think about what are the things that you could meet here. Protoss could not have much if they went for a Nexus, which every Protoss goes for pretty much, unless they're proxying you. And again, we're intending in doing this against mostly Protosses that don't scout and that you think are not on the cheesy side of things. If you play against a Protoss that always proxy Oracle, perhaps you don't have to go for this. Like, I'm not sure how this will play out actually for a Protoss proxied Oracle, because it takes so many hits now to kill Marines and SCVs. You might actually be able to kill him, like he'll wreck your middle line, but then you'll kill him on the other side. So, not quite sure. But yeah, very important here, you're gonna head up the ramps and chase his stalker immediately. And one very important thing that you're gonna want to do is start a bunker immediately here, as soon as you get up, because that bunker is gonna give you vision. And obviously Protoss will always pull probes here to try and fight you, because they can't win with just their units, like the Cyclone will just massacre them. If you can make him chase you all the way back, the further back, if you can like get here, it's better for you, because your units are consistently coming out of these two buildings. When you have around this amount of SCVs here, by the way, it's like around 15 on minerals, plus like the one that's building here, you stop making them for the most part. You're only investing into those units. If you end up having a bunch of money banked up, maybe you can start a CC eventually, but I really feel like this build should be meant mostly only as an all-in, so the important thing is not to forget depot. So I will say you start more units here after your third depot, and then now 38 out of 46 is when the attack's about to start. You go home real quick and you start a depot. And that's the last note that I think we might take as far as build order goes. So 38 out of 39, sorry, not 36. Fourth depot. And then you can make that one behind middle line. I'm not going to write that like it's obvious. If you already have 3 depot there, you don't need 1 there. So now we see the attack. Protoss immediately realizes what's happening. By then they already have their tech. What are we hoping for? If they have, I'm going to pause for one more time. If they have a Twilight Council, they have a Twilight Council for nothing, because that's not going to help them at all during that rush. If they have a Stargates, the Oracle I mean, if they went for Nexus then Stargate, you can see the Oracle is not there quite yet. And the goal, if an Oracle flies in, is going to be to lock onto it and pull back with your Cyclone so that you can take it out, and it doesn't even kill ideally even one Cyclone. But again, like the bunker here is the key, because it's perfectly placed, by the way. Like if probes are pulled, you just pull back. You make sure never ever get surrounded by probe or let them tank at the front and do damage to the Cyclone. They actually do a lot of damage if it's a lot of them. So you're gonna see. Go straight for the Stalkers. Bunny is very wary that probes are gonna be on their way, so he doesn't like follow all the way there, otherwise he will be cornered. And you see those probes are mineral walked as well. So he stops a little bit, fights. In the meantime, like the bunker wasn't even attacked, because otherwise he would have stayed in the ramp and kept attacking. The probes eventually they have to go back, and every time they come back, he just moves back. You do need to attack though, and then just have a good rhythm here. Go home and go in this place. Keep on making 2 Cyclones plus 1 Marine continuously. Make sure you never miss a bit. You're gonna be starting to lose units, so you don't need to make depots here from here anymore. If you have extra minerals, maybe you can start some SCVs like 1 by 1. I guess Bunny did such a good job of actually keeping his units alive that he could start 1 more depot for now, but like this is really the time where like the micro is super important. Prioritize the micro of your units over anything else, but obviously again, make sure you are producing here 2 Cyclones and 1 Marine at the time. Takes out the pylon, and then again, just make sure you're effective with your actions. Now, I mean, there is enough here to just trade against the probes and then take out the Stalkers, so he just kind of keeps on fighting. I don't see too many scenarios in which you will be there, you kill the Expo, and then Protoss has enough in the main to defend, and then you have to go into a normal game. A lot of the time, that rush will either kill the Terran and you win the game, or kill the Protoss and you win the game, or it fails and then you've lost. But in this case, I guess Bunny was starting to bank quite a few, like 16 mineral SCVs is a lot, so he was starting to bank a lot, so he starts a CC. But as you see, usually Protoss will... They know that you will have the economy behind this to start a command center, so what they will do is they will fight you to try and save that Nexus. And if they're not able to win the fight like this, then just leave the game. I guess technically, maybe Hero could have stayed on the high ground with all of his units, but then if you kill the Nexus and you have your own CC on the way, you've pretty much won, or like you're very far ahead. So yeah, that's it with the build order. I hope you guys can try it out. Let me know how it goes. Again, like we're aiming to use this against like non-scouting Protosses, against the very cheesy one. Maybe you can try it if you guys are just kind of fed up with playing macro games. You can also throw in that build, try and see where it takes you. Make sure you let me know in the comments like what you thought about the tutorial, how to make it better, and if you guys have replays of using this build order, whether it goes well or not well at all, let me know how it went, and maybe even send me the replays, so maybe I can do like some follow-up video on this. But yeah, like I think against Stargate and Twilight you will be in fantastic shape, especially if the Protoss doesn't see you coming. I think even if he sees you coming, you probably could still win, assuming he didn't scout you from the very start, because usually Protoss they pick their tech pretty early, and if he starts a Nexus, very few Protosses will have the discipline of, like say he scouts after Nexus, of actually cancelling it. So I hope to hear from you guys, and I hope that this build order brings you some victories. I'll see you guys later with more tutorials. Peace.